Hello everyone, my name is Sebastian. Welcome to my channel. I'm the creator of MobiFlight, and in this video tutorial I am going to show you how to configure a landing gear, a lever switch, and the landing gear indicator lights with the help of MobiFlight. Again, welcome to my channel. If you're new to MobiFlight, my name is Sebastian. I created MobiFlight as a 100% open source project a couple of years ago with the goal to provide you a tool to create your own home cockpit using Arduinos and practically no coding skills at all. On this channel, I regularly update release review videos, but also tutorials. Please subscribe to make sure that you receive a notification the next time that I upload a video. Thank you so much. And now let's get into the tutorial. So for this tutorial, what we are going to do is we are going to connect and configure a landing gear switch together with 6 indicator lights, which are realized using LEDs. And as you can see here on the schematic, there is the landing gear switch, which can either be an on-off switch, where we would only wire and connect one line to pin 14, or it can also be a on-on switch where we need another pin. In this case, that would be 15. I'm going to explain that in the tutorial later. And then we also have the indicator lights. We have 3 green LEDs and 3 red LEDs for left nodes and right gears. And you can see they're hooked up to 7, 8, and 9. And then the red ones are 10, 11, and 12. So if you really want to follow along with the tutorial, you can come up with the same setup, or if you like, obviously MobiFlight provides you all the flexibility to use any other pin that is available on your board. We have to tell MobiFlight on what pin we have connected what kind of device. So let's open the MobiFlight modules dialog, and you see that we have the MobiFlight board here listed, and we will add the first device, which is going to be our button. It is connected to pin 14, and we will call this the landing gear switch. Landing gear switch is too long of a name, so let's make it a little shorter. And this is working just fine. Super easy. Let's move on. Let's add the next device. So I just want to quickly say that I will make this configuration work with an on-off switch first, even though that my switch is an actual on-on switch and also connected to MobiFlight. But I want to show you that it is also possible with a simple on-off configuration. Let's add the next device, which is an LED output. My LED outputs start at a pin 7, and it's the green ones first and then the red ones. So let's give this a good name. For example, gear left green. And we'll add another one because it's super easy to do this, so much fun. So let's go on adding more of these LEDs. Gear nose green. This must be the next free one after 7, which is 8. And then we have another LED, and we will do this like 4 more times. Gear right green. Oops, too many E's. Okay, green like so. And then this is pin number 9. Add device, LED output, gear left, and this one is the red color LED, so this is 10. Then we'll add another device, and we're almost done, but it's super easy. This is definitely something that anyone can do. And we'll take 11. And then the last one is going to be gear right red, and this is pin number 12. Yoo-hoo! We got it. That was super simple. Now we just have to make sure that we upload this configuration. Yes, and it's also super fast. We're good to go. The first thing that we now can do is we can test our configuration real quick just to make sure that we have everything configured correctly, because it's very easy to get kind of confused with your wires and whatnot. So just create a test configuration for the LEDs very, very quickly here. We'll pick our module. There's only one type of output device, and then this one is left green, and you see that down here we have this test button, and this allows us to very quickly check that everything is working just fine. So let's confirm nose. All right, and you can see it here on this little module, my setup, on my little cube, that it is working correctly. So let's test the red ones. Boom, red works. And the nose one, yep. And the right one is not working, which is not good. Okay, let's figure out why the red one is not working. Maybe I made a mistake. All right, go to settings again, MobiFlight. So we have the red one. It's 12, 11, 10, 12. Oh, sorry, my bad. I actually had a little disconnect here. All right, a little wiring problem on my setup. That's funny. But that's a good example of how to actually see that some things are not working correctly, and this is a very easy and efficient way to check it. Okay, there we go. Once the wires are connected correctly, everything's looking okay. We checked all these configurations. Let's do the check for the inputs, and that's also very, very simple, because the only thing is that we have to make sure we turn on the logging debug. I'm already in offline mode. This would not necessarily be required. So now we can go and we can flip the switch. And what you can see is that even though that we only are using one pin, my cursor is a little in the way here. We can see there's two events. Yeah, landing gear switch press when we're going up, and landing gear switch release when we're going down. So, well, with this, we're actually ready to start with our configuration of the logic inside of MobiFlight to control the sim. And until now, it was really, really straightforward and very, very easy. Yeah, let's start with the switch, because the switch is super, super simple too. All right, let's create the landing gear configuration for the switch, and we can go here and pick from the module the MobiFlight one, and then landing gear switch. And we just saw on our debug messages down here that when we're on press, this actually means that the landing gear shall go up, yeah, because that's how our switch is positioned. So this is more intuitive. Up press, yeah, means landing gear up, and landing gear switch down, which is on release, would then be the landing gear down. So we'll find this preset. It's a very generic one. For most of the airplanes, this one should work on the Microsoft generic and gear. So we have gear down for the on press, which is not the correct one. Gear up, correct. And then the next one here, MSFS events, and we'll look it up again on the generic gear category. And then this would be gear down. Gear up, gear down. We're good to go. That was it. Super easy. We already configured our landing gear. By default, when you create a new configuration, it is not automatically activated. Yeah, make sure that you always activate this as soon as you think that your configuration is ready to go. I'll switch over to the sim and we are going to go to Executive Airport here, Chicago Executive Airport. I like this one. And we're using the Beach Baron. That's totally fine. It's good because we have a retractable landing gear. Okay, this is going to take a little while, so let's hop over to the output configuration. Let's start with the gear down configuration because the gear down configuration is very trivial. Let's say landing left down, or landing gear left down. Yeah, let's take this preset. There is landing gear also available here in the generic gear selection, and the left one is gear left, position. Yeah, that's the right one, and it says %, so we're happy with that. That's awesome. There's nothing else that we have to do other than we know that it is fully extended when it's 100% and it's fully retracted when it is 0. So we will hop over to the compare tab and we will say that only if this variable, or the sim variable, is showing us 100, well then we want to set our LED to 1, and then otherwise we will set it to 0. Green only turns on now when the value is 100, so which means the gear is fully extended. In all the other cases, it will just stay off. And then we simply have to make sure that we're using the right one. In this case, it's the left one. So gear left green. This is the correct assignment. Sim variable, let one more check. Okay, we're reading gear left position. It's a value because it's in %, so from 0 to 100. Only if it is 100, we want to turn on our LED. Anything other than 0 is LED on. Anything other than 1 means it is off. Well, actually 0. All right. I hope that is clear. And then here, short review. We selected the correct LED. And this should already be working just awesome. And we have to make sure that we activate this. All right. Why don't we give this already a try? We have the landing gear switch and we have the landing gear left down configured. You see that my debug messages are still kind of trickling in here. It's still enabled. Really doesn't matter for now. Let's go and get in the air. Which is actually funny because I really don't know if I can do this. Like so, gear is down, and let's put this all forward. And then I will do something funny. Ooh, I'll get seasick. Okay. Uh-oh. I'm gonna cut this. Okay. So it was a very horrible takeoff, but we're not here for the takeoff, we're here for the gear up. So let's put the gear up. And you can see that the landing gear left is not green anymore. It's not turned on anymore. It's exactly the way it's supposed to be. And we're using our switch. So I will just try this again. Put the landing gear down. Okay, and we can see the switch in the sim went down. And now also one of the 3 lights is also turned on. Oh yeah, why don't we just complete the down for all the other gears? And I really like the duplicate feature. So we can just say this is nose down. We have to pick the correct preset. In this case, this is gear center position. And we have to also make sure that we're using the correct LED. And well, that was super simple too. And we can already see that because our gear is down and the configuration is correct, we are now seeing another green light showing up. And then the last one, you might have guessed it, is equally simple. Just go ahead, right. We duplicate this line, and then we'll pick the correct preset, which is gear right position. We will go to the compare tab. We don't have to make any adjustments here. Then we will move over to the display tab, and we will take gear right green. Super simple, boom. And all of a sudden we have 3 green lights, which coincides here with the status in the sim. Well, that is amazing and awesome, and I hope you saw that it is super simple. So let's hop over to the flight sim. Let's unpause and let's retract the landing gear, and boom, immediately the lights go off. Our landing gear is up. We're flying straight into Lake Michigan, or above Lake Michigan. All right, so we can put the gear down, and after some moments when all the green lights turn on in the sim, we can see all the green lights. Now all the green lights are off. We are coming now to the transition lights. So every time that the gear is in transit, this will be red. Let's see if that's actually the case. Yeah, we have this one in transit light, but we have 3 ones that we're actually going to be using. So let's hop back to MobiFlight. And this is a little bit a tricky configuration. So I will duplicate this one. I will rename it left. And this is not down, but in transit. And then we're going to think about what we have to do. Yeah, probably I duplicated the wrong one. Let's take the left position. And now the compare. Here we have to do a little bit of a different thinking, because as I was saying, 0 is LEDs are turned off when the value is 0, and actually LEDs turn on when we have a value other than 0. And in the case of the transit light, so every time that we want to be fully up, fully retracted, which is position 0, and then the LED shall be off. And when we are fully extended, that means 100, then the LED shall also be off, and only in between it shall be turned on. So it's actually simple to achieve that, but it's not like straightforward. We have to make this a little smart. And if current value is equals 100, I just was saying, well, yeah, then turn it off. Okay, 100 means fully extended. Turn it off if it is fully extended. Otherwise, we don't want to set it to 0, and we also don't want to statically set it to 1, because then in the case of fully retracted, the value is 0, it will also be 1. But what we can do is we can use the placeholder $, which always is the current variable that we're reading. So this will be anything from 0 to 99. Yeah? Anything that is not 100 will be down here. So fully retracted, it will be 0, and the LED is going to be off. Anything else will be not 0. It will be something from 1 to 99, which means the LED is going to be turned on. And that is exactly what we're looking for. I just mentioned that I duplicated the wrong one. So let's take this gear left green. But you see, I hope this makes sense. I know it's a little bit kind of counterintuitive, but it actually works, and it is all in one configuration. Okay, it's actually pretty straightforward. So landing gear left transit, it's still showing me gear right green. So I definitely made a mistake here. Gear left green. It should be gear left red. All right. Oh, okay. After switching over to another line, it also got updated. Gear left right, gear left red. So this looks good. This looks good to me. And let us confirm that is now actually working. So I'm gonna lower the gear and boom, it turns on red. And then as soon as we get to green, it's off. Awesome. So, and let's check the other way around. Going up again, until we are fully retracted, it is showing red. It's amazing. It's so super easy. We all got this going in just a couple of minutes. We're so close now. Let's duplicate these guys and make it center transit and correct here. Gear center position, boop, boop, boop. And then we need nose red. All right. And then the last one is right transit. All right. And let's go to let's pick the right preset and the gear right red LED. And now we will check again. So gears goes down. Woo! It is in transit. It is red. And now it turned green. Everything is working as expected. It's so cool. And it's super, super simple. So we have 6 configurations for the output for every individual LED. And we have 1 configuration for the landing gear. I just want to quickly talk about the landing gear. I was already mentioning that my landing gear switch is actually a on-on switch. So I have 2 wires and every wire connected to an individual pin. So this could also be configured, and I'm going to show you this real quick. So let's say this is up. Okay, it doesn't like it. It's too much, too many characters. Okay, landing gear switch up, and we will add another button, and this one is landing gear down. I don't really need to add the landing gear switch here. Landing gear down, and this is 15. Cool, I have to upload this, upload configuration. And now, if I look at my debug log messages, every time that I move this switch, I have 2 events from both pins. Landing gear up, landing gear down, but they have different events, press and release. So if I wanted to now make this work with a on switch, so I would give this a down event and an up, kind of an up configuration and a down configuration. Hold on. Okay, this is now lost because we renamed it. Landing gear up. This is up. On release, I would not need to have anything. So I'm going to remove this. And then on the landing gear down, I'll take my switch landing gear down. This obviously have to become landing gear down. And on the on release event, we don't have to configure anything. Super cool. So now I've converted the configuration if I have dedicated switches or dedicated positions on my switch that I have wired with individual pins. Of course, I have to use an additional pin on my board, but it's really clean now. So going down, going up. Yeah, it works as expected. Okay, so let's add another level of realism to our configuration, because We are now having a working landing gear switch, and we also have the indicator lights working correctly, but we actually would like to make an exception to what we have configured so far. The lights obviously need electrical power. So anytime that I turn off all the electrical power on my aircraft, the gear indicator will not light up. However, in the sim, if we go back to MobiFlight, unfortunately, the sim value that we're reading is still going to show us a different value. So let's make sure we refresh everything. It's still 1, and we can see that the lights on the cube are still showing green because, well, the landing gears are indeed extended. So first of all, what we are going to do is we're going to add another configuration that we can later on to use either as a precondition or as part of a transform. And I will show you both ways because both ways are really interesting. So let's get this started. Master battery. Okay, so let's take the preset and look for generic miscellaneous, and then we can go down here, and that is actually what we're looking for, the main bus voltage. If it's not 0, yeah, then let's see what we get from the sim here. And yeah, so let's turn off the battery switches. And boom, master battery goes down to 0. Let's call this the master battery bus. Okay, what we're going to do is I would like to have a value that is, if current value is more than, let's say, 20, let's set it to 1, and 20 is more like an arbitrary value. Anything other higher than 20 volts we will consider to be enough power to also drive the LEDs, and then otherwise set it to 0. Well, that's pretty cool now because we have two options. We can really either protect every of these configurations with a precondition, or we can use a transform. I will show you the precondition way. Precondition would be, we'll take a config item, we'll use our master battery bus, and we will say if the current value is 1, and we apply this. So only if the current value is 1, then this will ever be evaluated. Otherwise, it won't work. And the same thing can be done for the, I will just do this in a similar way. Oh, sorry, here, config item, I'll pick the master battery bus. If the current value is 1, well then, we're also going to evaluate this configuration. Otherwise, we won't. The only thing is that right now, it is showing still green, even though that none of these is actually fulfilled. But as soon as we stop and we run again, now like the initial state was correct because everything was set to 0. And now we can see that the LEDs are not turned on. Wow. And we already did the same thing for the transit. So I know it's going to work for the other configuration in the same way. The next thing that we could do is there's also this little trick when we're saying we can use the transform field and we can add a config reference. And the config reference, we will take the master battery bus again, and we will just make take advantage of a little math here. So we know that the master battery bus is going to be either 0 or 1. If it is 1, well, then that means we have power, and we know that any value that we're reading from the LED should actually be okay and used to drive our LED. So if we multiply here with this placeholder with the hash tag, well, then we know that any value multiplied by either 0 we'll make it 0. That means we have no battery bus voltage. Or if it's multiplied by 1, well, then we know that the value is going to be staying the same, and that's also fine. So this is really a cool and universal trick for many of these kind of configurations that you want to make depending on some other aircraft state. Okay, so I hope this really makes sense. Let's give this a try. You can see that right now it's still green, but as soon as I go and confirm this configuration, it will turn off. And let's confirm that it will turn on again. Yeah, you see, as soon as I flip the master battery switch, we have voltage on the main bus, and yeah, the lights will go on. So it's really up to your personal preference, what you like. The good thing about the precondition is that we have an indication here that whenever the precondition is not fulfilled or satisfied, that we have something going on here, that this is not evaluated. So this might be very, very useful. On the other hand, also the multiplication trick is something very, very useful too. Great, so this is now the end of this tutorial. I hope that you learned something new, and I hope that I was able to show how easy it is to get really some cool stuff configured in a very short amount of time. MobiFlight is very flexible, and MobiFlight is still very simple. But however, if you ever getting stuck or whatever, make sure you check the forums, make sure you check the website, make sure that you take a look at the cool community tutorials that are available on GitHub, and also, last but not least, even more importantly, join our Discord server. There are so many cool guys out there, so many friendly and helpful guys who are helping each other to achieve their goals with their home cockpits and help out if someone is stuck. So with this being said, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the next video, and I'm out for today. Happy landings, stay safe, enjoy MobiFlight, have a good one. Bye bye.